All right. Welcome back to our Friends podcast. Very excited about today's episode as I'm joined up here by none other than Edge and Babi Lou.
Yes, sir. Edge Babi Lou. Edge Babi Lou.
How y'all doing? How was the voyage to Endicott, New York today?
Hey, man. No, the drive wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. But I was like turned like 3 times around to find your house.
That's
like,
exactly what happened to me. I had to call him. I had to be like, yo,
you know what I think it is? So I rent, and this house was listed back in August. And my wife, being, she's all about safety, so she went and blocked our address on Google. So, like, if you Google our house, this address, it's just a blurred image.
I didn't even know you could do that.
So it could be
that's exactly why.
Everybody's just getting thrown off because she's like blocked. Like, even if you go to the listing of the house on Zillow,
yeah.
You could see inside of the house, but the outside picture is blurry.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I didn't know you could do that.
That's definitely why. Yeah.
She's all about that safety. That's capital S.
That's funny.
Shout out to her, though. All right.
Yeah. That's funny.
If you need to block your house, talk to my wife. She'll punch it in and get you all set up there. All right. No, so excited to have you both over here. I'm glad we were able to make it happen outside of the GPS issues.
Yeah.
But one thing I was talking about or really thinking about, with the two of you is really how did you two get together? Because I know that you played with you kind of had a music group before Edge and Babi Lou, right? With you two and a couple other people or one other person.
Yeah, it was one other person, my cousin Nehemi, who went by what, Benetrician, or
he changed his name a couple of times.
Yeah, there was 3 of us, and then we went under the moniker Mizos, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it started, and then
I listened to some Mizos this morning.
Poor ears of yours.
That was no joke.
That's a whole different sound from right now. But yeah, he dropped out for personal reasons, so we ended up just dropping that name and going with Edge and Babi Lou. Did you were Babi Lou when we were Mizos?
Yeah, I think so.
I can't even remember that.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was. Yeah, I just didn't want to go by the old Govey. Just for like, I figured it might be like copyright reasons, to be honest, if anyone knows like what my actual name is. But like, yeah, I just figured it'd be easier if I had like an actual moniker.
When did you come up with that name?
I came up with it pretty much, I think, really right before we actually released our first things, because I don't think that our first song under the Mizos was, or I didn't have that name when we were the Mizos and we released that song. So like after we split off that and decided to go our own thing, which is like 2020, I think, is when I came up with that. And it's really just like a mix of my middle name and like an ode to like my grandfather, because my middle name is my grandfather's name. Yeah. So that's how I came about with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't want to get too much into this, but I want to mention, like, I saw that cover and I saw Nehemi, right? Mm-hmm. And I recognized his face and I was like, who is that? I was like, they look so familiar. But I went to Binghamton High School and I think he was like a grade or 2 below. And then I know Jose.
Yeah.
And that's also your cousin.
Yeah.
Right?
Older
or went by Joe's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the two.
One of the two. Yeah.
Nobody knows. I say them both, but
I like saying Jose. I feel like Joe's was like the cop out to like, just call me Joe's. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
probably. Like he has a specific one. I just can't remember it for the life of me. I should, but I don't.
And I remember going to school with you. Mm-hmm. You graduated at 13?
Yeah.
And what I remember about like knowing the name Edge in high school was that you were just like an absolute beast in any sport.
Yeah, I did a lot of sports.
Fast,
that was my thing.
You know, like Edge was like a name that really suited you.
Yeah, I sports were definitely my thing. Like music was nowhere near my like sphere of like tricks. Like it's not something that I dedicate a lot of time to. But sports, basketball, track. I even tried my hand a little bit at football earlier on. That was my niche. That was what I did, and that was my thing for sure.
Right. And Baby Lou, you didn't go to Binghamton High School, right?
No, I did.
You did?
Yeah,
All right, when'd you graduate?
I'm pretty low key. I graduated.
Yeah, super low key. Because that's what I want to get to.
Because I was more of a nerd. Not really a nerd, but I just really stayed out the way. I almost graduated early because I think what's the school, Potsdam or something. Okay. So they offered like they had like a program where you can like start a year early. So pretty much I doubled up 11th grade. I doubled up on all of my classes. So I was taking like 11th grade and 12th grade, like social studies, English, all that stuff.
Nice.
And I was planning on leaving early, but then I just got cold feet and decided not to. But really, I was just like, school was just my thing, I guess. And so I didn't really do like too many sports. I feel like people knew me for what I looked like, because in high school I wore like a green backpack, like a bright green backpack, and I had like a flat top. So people knew what I looked like, but they didn't really know like what my name was or really like who I hung around too often.
Gotcha.
So I was really just out the way, kind of.
So did the two of you meet in high school, or was it before that, or after?
It's been like a while. It's like the story, I guess. So
let's get into that.
When you could start it off, I guess. You can start.
Well, our families have kind of been in each other's like space, because we're both Haitian. And the community around here is kind of tight, pretty tight knit. So what was it? My sister?
Yeah.
Who did she babysit? Yeah,
she used to babysit me, I guess, and that's how like we kind of became friends, because I remember we're like a grade apart, and I remember my first like real memory, because she babysat me like when I was really young, so like it's not like I remembered it specifically, but I do remember Edge coming up to me and be like, yo, my sister used to babysit you. Like, that was like one of my first memories of Edge. And then like pretty much after that, we were cool all throughout like high school.
That was the most normal thing I could say. Like, I'm surprised I didn't say something like crazy. Like, my chest is beating so fast. I'm like, what did I say? What did I say? All right, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So that was like the first one, and then also
that was the
like
pickup line.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, and then like his best friends were like the little brothers of like my best friends, and so like we were always like just around each other. And so we've known each other for like a while, quite some time. It's been if we were to put like a time on it, it's over 10 years.
Oh, definitely,
easily.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's been a very long time.
Yeah, I see, because I see the two of you and the way you interact, and like, obviously what we see when we see on like social media and like in a video, super tight, but you're like that off the stage, so it's really great to see how tight the two of you are. So like, when did we get into the music interest together?
Sheesh. I honestly don't remember the year specifically, but I remember was it your brother that put out a song?
No, it was I put out a song. Yeah, it was like I dropped a song on SoundCloud. I don't think nobody knew. Again, like I stay super.
They weren't ready.
Low-key. No one knew that I did music for real. So I dropped a song on SoundCloud.
You were in the lab the whole time. They had no idea.
Didn't tell anybody. Didn't tell a soul.
Yeah, so I put out a song on SoundCloud, and then they liked it. And one of my main issues was I never felt like I had enough to talk about.
Yeah.
To make a lot of songs on my own. Yeah. And they so him and Nehemi, when we first started out, they really definitely liked the song. And so I was like, yo, I got these other songs. Like, do you guys want to go ahead and like jump on these? You guys want to do a verse? And that's kind of how it started music wise. Like they just kind of fell into it. So that's when Ed says like sports was his thing, music wasn't. Like it was just because they liked the song, and I was like, I can't do a full song by myself right now at this point. Do you guys want to jump on it? And that's how I guess everything came to be or started off. Yeah.
Wow. I love that while y'all are recounting this and we're telling the story, that there's literally fireworks
just going off
outside.
It's
almost like it's themed for what this conversation. Like that's kind of what set off the fireworks, you know?
That's literally, it's crazy that's how it started, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you definitely, it makes sense that y'all were close growing up and like your sister babysitting, because you have like this brother vibe. Yep. Like the two of you have been doing this since you were kids. Yeah. It makes me recount to my brother and I. We're really close. He's just 3 years older than I am. So like we were super tight growing up. And when my parents got divorced, he was almost like that next parent for me in a way. Helping me out and getting through that time. And there were a lot of times when we were really young, though, even though like we're not necessarily singers, that we would like get together in the basement and throw on the Temptations and like have a whole thing rehearsed out, like the moves and like who was gonna sing each part. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So was there any of that at any time before the rapping or before we actually started like laying it and getting on like on a DAW system and everything like that, where you ever just goofing around?
No. With music, no, actually. No. Like literally it was once we found the one track, it literally just, that was the spark of everything as far as music goes. Because like I've always personally like listened to music a lot. I'm a huge fan of a bunch of artists, so like music has always been a big thing for me, but I've never like acted out on it. Like the guitar thing is very super recent. Recording songs didn't happen until right after he brought that up. So like anything before that between us was just like we were just really close. Like it's just a brother type of relationship kind of thing. So like no, we didn't. As far as I could account, did we do anything?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not like we ever had like times where we were just goofing off and had like just freestyles, just random or anything. Never. Nothing like that, man. Like honestly, because I'm telling you, I kept it a secret, man. That was like my deepest. Because for the longest time, I didn't really even like the way that I sounded, as everyone does. I feel like I didn't like the way that I sounded on like just recording. So I didn't tell anybody that I was doing music or anything like that until I dropped the song, and then, like he said, that was just like the spark to. Yeah. Everything blowing up.
Yeah, everything was blowing up right after that.
Honestly, we did it as more like a fun joke kind of a thing. Actually, it was a bag talk. It was the first one.
Yeah,
and it was just like, cool. This is fun. You're here, friends. Enjoy. And everyone was like, all right, yeah, do that. You're cook. You're cooking. So we like continue to make, and we just kind of ended up here. It was very organic. It wasn't like we really necessarily had that drive at first to like make it big with music, but people said, you got something there, so now it's our thing.
Yeah.
So
what does that process look like then, when you want to write a new song or you have an idea for a new song? What does that typically look like? Is one of you the primary writer and the other one's like more the producer, or is everybody wearing multiple hats? How's that look?
It feels like throughout like our journey, it kind of like fluctuates. Sometimes we'll kind of go back and forth with a lot of songs is usually how we try to do things. So like Beethoven's he sent a song today actually, titled Bonnie and Clyde, and he wrote a verse and a hook for it. And I've been listening today and I've been writing for it. So once I have my thing down, we'll come together, I'll record, and then we'll put it out. And sometimes it'll happen the other way where I'll do whatever and then I'll send it over to him. There's not really a set way that we go about it generally. The one thing is like sometimes we will go through spans where him in a creative space or in a solid creative space, and he'll send things out and he'll more navigate how things go for songs for a good span of time, and sometimes it'll be the other way around. I feel like it's very fluid. Like we take turns, and it's a good conversation that we have whenever we come together for songs.
Yeah, I'd agree. And then we do have like rare occasions. Like sometimes we both might have like a writer's block or in a tough creative space, or sometimes we both might be like in the same creative space, and that's when we like get in a room together and like end up just like coming up with a song. Which I think we might have like actually like 3 or maybe 2 or 3 songs that we actually created in the same room together.
That's cool.
But it's tough. It's tough. Anytime you're in a group, I think lining that creative timing up is definitely difficult. So we send, like you said, send back and forth. But on occasion, we do have those times where we just sit together and we're like, all right, we're gonna pump out a song, or let's see what we can come up with. Together, bouncing ideas off each other real time. So yeah,
it's tough. I feel like our best work probably comes out of when we do that, but life kind of prevents you from doing that as often as you can. And then sometimes you're just not synced up when you do meet, so you can't always do that. But like whenever we are synced up and we can sit down and we have the time to do it, we've gotten some of our best work out of that. So it'd be cool to like try and do that more often, probably.
Yeah.
I think the first song we did was Cruise, right?
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago. And then we did it again with Catch a Body. And then was there can you think of another one that we did?
No, I can't really think of anyone right now. Any other one? Well, nothing that we put out. I think we've had like 2 other ones that we haven't put out yet. But yeah.
It's been good work out of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And excuse me. And like behind the scenes, what does that work look like to take a song from the studio and perform it? What's that process look like for you? How do you get a song performance ready?
So honestly,
and if you just send it, that's cool too.
No. So I think our first ever performance, like we started out doing open mics at Taco Garage or Garage Taco. So shout out to like Cassie Gibson. She was running that originally when we first started. And now Soup, he's running it now. So our first one was really at an open mic. I think before that, to even prepare for that, we probably ran songs in his basement for
I think
hours.
I saw the footage of that. Oh yeah,
hours, man, just hours, like rehearsing, like trying to figure out when is he gonna be, when I'm gonna support him on like certain vocals, or when he's gonna support me on certain vocals. Just figuring out the flow of like how we need to, what the dynamics are gonna be for performing live. And then for the longest time, we needed a crutch. We needed the crutch of like the full backing track, so we didn't have our vocals removed with like our performance tracks now. And then eventually that evolved into doing no backing tracks. We finding bands or performing with bands and live instruments and stuff like that. And so I think now that's the way that we prefer to perform. But we don't, again, everyone has their own lives. We don't have like a band that's just our beck and call to really show up when we wanna perform. And so we'll do like the backing tracks when we need to, but we definitely do prefer to perform live.
Yeah, and that's awesome, and I've noticed that you guys just come right out and you do it, and it just, the performances just get better and better.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Appreciate that.
I'm glad you noticed, because we're only a year and like 2 months into performing. Like our first live performance was last November 8th. It was a wedding. Shout out to them for having us, but that was like our first like gig.
You couldn't tell.
Yeah, thank the Lord. It's a lot of hours, a lot of rehearsing in the basement. But yeah, and I think we started going to the open mics August 15th of last year. So like since then, that's about all the time that we've had with live performances. So very new. We don't have a vocal coach. We don't have anyone to guide us. So we really just have like the music community, like you asking. That's why when we got here, we're asking you 1,000 questions because we're trying to like absorb as much as we can because we don't necessarily have that teacher or guidance. With putting everything together. So. Trying to build.
I appreciate that, and we've talked about this before on this podcast, but I mean, huge shout out to Cassie Gibson, and Soup for Cassie Gibson getting it started and Soup keeping it alive because Cassie and I and Tom Jolu, we all started our open mics around the same time, like within like weeks of each other, and at the end of 2021. And when Liam and I started the open mic, it was about keeping the inclusivity of it, right? Where anybody can go to an open mic with a guitar and sing. Anybody, like if you are a singer-songwriter, you can go to any open mic and you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But if you're a drummer and there's no drum set there, or you're a bass player and there's no bass there, it's tough. And if that's all you do, if you're just a guitarist who doesn't sing songs, where do you get to have this open mic experience?
Yeah, true.
And where Cassie went above that is having a place for people who have tracks to perform. And that's when we were like, all right, we got to do the same thing, like having that variety act where we can have singer-songwriters, have full bands. Now we can have people with their tracks that don't play anything, but also are phenomenal singers like you, like Carmela, like Jess, these phenomenal singers that at certain open mics, they're just kind of like, I can't do it here.
Yeah.
So it's awesome that's happening, but in the midst of it all, the two of you are really breaking down these barriers, and helping bridge that with a band.
Yeah. Yeah. Once we first started performing with Manila, which shout out to them because they're an amazing group.
So good.
Yeah, really good.
Well, shout out to you because I think we first met them. I've heard of Manila prior to going to one of your guys' open mics, but we first met them at your open mic.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
so
that's
that's a piece right there. So we met.
Shout out to you for real. That's crazy. I forgot.
Probably real shout out to like Grown Ups and Ollie. Yeah, because I don't know if those kids would have came over if it wasn't for that. But
yeah, we met them. We met them there. Yeah, and we started performing with them, and I personally didn't notice it until we were like deep into it and we're doing performances, but like we blended like a multitude of different sounds and vibes having Manila perform with us. Like we have that island Caribbean type vibe, and we're venturing out into all that kind of stuff, but like the presence that we bring and the presence that they bring, the combination is like super dope, and I feel like it's different from a lot of the acts that you can get around here, or even if you go down to the city or anywhere like close to here. It's like it's pretty different. It's cool. Like I like what we built, and even with our new band, we have the same kind of like contrast. Like the combination is super cool, and you just won't get that very many places, I feel like. So it'd be nice to hold on to that as long as we possibly can.
Yeah, I hope so. Because as a drummer, I think of Ashton as this like he's beyond his years.
Insane.
As a drummer.
It's pretty good.
He holds it down, and like that Caribbean, he can get that vibe going for sure.
Super receptive too.
Yeah, he listens. He knows how to like play quiet. He knows how to play soft, which is tough for some drummers. And now you have Dexter, who I used to play with Dexter in high school. He actually came out to the first Caviar and Grit show because our we used to go out and hang out all the time. At one point, we used to work together for a little while, and he came out to one of the shows, and he is nuts on the drums. Like you are that island Caribbean soca beat all day long. Like he crushes.
Yeah, man, that guy can get after it. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's pretty versatile too with like what he listens to and what he does. So it's like, yeah, he's definitely, Zaya will tell you he's the heart of our band right now. So yeah, we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, and it's great to see, because I mean it's no secret that, like, you know, obviously Binghamton is predominantly like Caucasian, right? So you know, a lot of the performers, a lot of musicians are Caucasian. I was even telling, you know, my wife this morning, I was like, man, Lincoln's never really hung out with black people before. You know, like I'm like, you know, other than my family, we're like we're all Hispanic, so we're like all light skinned. You know what I mean? Like he's never hung out. You know, so like, it's so important that to see that in the music community, that it could be so much more diverse, right? And having it not just be stuck as this, we're just going to do it this type of way, where you have a live band with you, and Dexter also being black, you know, as the drummer, I think is just so awesome, and I think great for the community, and great for kids to be able to look up to that, you know what I mean, who may be like thinking like, I'm fast, so I've got to play sports, you know what I mean, where no, you can also be a musician, right? If you've got this creative, imaginative side, I mean, lean into that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not, you know, there's always that impression of like, oh, it's, you know, if you're sensitive, you're soft, right? There's nothing wrong with that, you know, and it's really important to see, and I can't get over it.
Yeah, and also that if you do music, you don't have to rap. Like you can do whatever. Like, and that's another barrier that we try to attack pretty often. And we're very capable of rapping. It's how we started. But I think the reason we shifted is because we didn't want to be put in that box and just be labeled rappers, because our music goes way beyond just rapping. So yeah, I just came to the realization there really aren't that many African American artists like that representation. I don't know if my mind's just blanking right now, but I really can't think of that many. Can you guys think?
Yeah, no, not really.
Like, are you thinking in this area, or like
in this
general?
area? Like I was just like, I had a moment. I was like, oh shit, like
I think of like Matt Cornwall, you know.
Yeah, Matt.
But yeah, you're right. Nobody's coming to mind.
Yeah. Outside of that, and that's why I wanted to give you your props on that as well, just because outside of us, like, you're really just one of the main people that I see breaking down those barriers of expectations versus looks. And I did see that on like full display when you played with Donna and the Buffalo at that show. And so I just noticed, like, it's just a lot of people definitely don't expect anyone that looks like us or anyone that looks like you to be at those type of venues playing that type of music, even appreciating that type of music in itself. And so I did want to give you your props on that, just because like breaking down barriers are definitely like are one of the things that we would like to brand ourselves upon, in terms of even getting into different venues locally. They may look at us and expect one thing, but we definitely want to say like, hey, we have a band, we do live music, we don't just do rap. Like, we can do songs like Did It Again, or we can have songs like Hourglass or On My Way, and we can provide that versatility to where people may be surprisingly what am I saying? Surprisingly. Yeah, I can't speak right now. I'm having a stroke. Pleasantly surprised. That's what it is. Okay.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, from what they hear, from what they were expecting from us. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for that, because I could sometimes forget that. You know what I mean? Because you're just in it and you're just having a good time.
Yeah.
You know, and especially, wanting to be present and in the moment. But yeah, sometimes you do step back and like, wow, I'm the darkest person here.
Yeah,
And there's like hundreds of people here.
Like my hair is the kinkiest in this
room, man. It's like, what's going on? Yeah,
that's pretty. Yeah, that's the moment I had just now. Like we really are those like one of the few in the area that's doing that. So that's
always nice to see though.
It's nice, but it's like we do struggle with getting into venues probably because of that. We can't say definitively, but like kind of feels like that sometimes when you see like some of the other acts that are good as well, but we feel like we also can provide the same level of entertainment, and we just can't make it through the door for some reason. And there's no like we can't really get a real reason out of it, so not to assume, but it feels that way like for that. Sure. Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, especially the act y'all do is just so incredible, and that's why we have this platform to hope that those venues or anybody is listening and seeing what you're actually capable of, as well as seeing a live performance and seeing how well you can play. I was fortunate enough to catch your set last night at the Vestal Museum. Just want to give a big shout out to Winnie.
Shout out to Winnie
for running that event. If you haven't seen the podcast with Winnie, we had Winnie on. It's probably our last podcast in October, and she's doing a monthly series at the Vestal Museum, right, for the next few months.
Yep.
I think she has a couple this month.
She's got another one going on in January.
Yeah,
right?
I think the next one might be January 22nd. Don't quote me on that, but like I think that's like around the time.
Well, follow if you don't follow Winnie on Instagram. She's creating a space for musicians to play. It was an incredible variety show last night with 6 different acts. About
amazing
talent. At least 3 or 4 I've never seen before, and everybody was incredible. It was so intimate. There's no TVs, there's no alcohol. It's just music. And that was incredible. How did you feel about last night's show?
Oh my God. You want me to go first? Oh man,
he put the mic down.
Oh yeah, he did. That means it's me. No, I liked it. We were talking about it earlier. Actually, it was a change of pace for sure. I'll be honest. Like when we first went on, before the first song even played, I was a little nervous because typically we're in front of like a bar crowd, a crowd that's usually standing, got drinks in their hand, they're socializing, doing their own thing, kind of for most of the time when we're performing there, in their own element. But yesterday, it was like people sitting there, staring directly at you, waiting for you to do something cool, and it's just like, I don't know if we're that cool, guys. At this point, you kind of start to doubt yourself when people are paying that much attention to you, and there's like literally nothing else. And it was a very tentative crowd. It was a great crowd. There was a lot of people there, but it was just super intense and super intimate. We're not used to having that intimate of a crowd, so important thing for us to do yesterday was to talk to the crowd and be more personable. Speak to them, let them know who we are, I guess, instead of making it solely about the music. So it was a tough change of pace. I'm not gonna lie for me, but I appreciated it. By the end of it, I was like, I'm glad we went through that because that's something that'll translate to like the bigger performances. Even when you're in front of like thousands of people, it'd be nice to somehow just share a part of yourself with the crowd and make them feel like they're not just a crowd, you're not just a person in a sea of people, that
you grow
your artist
from those
is like,
performances.
Yeah, definitely grow. And I think we kind of fell into a rhythm which rhythms are good. It's just kind of lose that part connecting with the crowd sometimes when you're just like putting out song, you're just performing the song. You're not stopping to breathe and talk to the crowd, which I personally do have a problem with. Right. Yeah, I appreciate that performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's so important to seize opportunities, even if they seem a little bit out of your wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we're so used to learning, like in school, you learn and then you take a test. Mm-hmm. They don't give you a test and then you learn, right? Mm-hmm. where in life you're going to be tested and you're going to learn from that test, right? And I see that so much being a live performer. And it seemed like y'all were ready for the assignment last night. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, though. Thank you, though.
And again, everybody at that performance was incredible. They did play a good time slot, but I want to say probably the biggest applauses of the night.
Honestly,
it was loud.
I did see like a lot of people in there. Or it filled up quite a bit, like when we got on, which was kind of surprising to me, just because the Vessel Museum it's a small venue, like you said, it's small and intimate. There was already like the previous performers. It was already like I was standing up against the wall.
There was no seats. Tight in there.
So,
it was hot.
So the fact that so the fact that like even more people packed in, it was great. And like you said, I do want to shout out Winnie, because I know a lot of those people that were in there, like just scanning the faces while we were performing. A lot of them wouldn't have normally been at an Edge and Babi Lou performance. You know what I'm saying? So like, I did like that the fact that there are so many different kind of acts. A lot of people got that exposure to us, and if they liked it, then they, hopefully we can see them at one of the next ones.
Yeah, that's going back to what you said, pleasantly surprised. I think that was probably the reaction for a lot of those people. And when I noticed it the most, I think it was, what was the last song you played?
Intoxicated.
What was the song before that?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that song, right? As soon as you put your hands up, everybody started clapping. Like that showed like everybody was so locked in. Like it was. It was like one of those moments.
It's cool to know that they're locked in, but like they're really locked in. Like
they were waiting.
They were waiting for that second to engage.
That made me smile, because like they didn't even let me get a clap in. Man, they saw the motion going up, and
it's our turn.
I've been waiting for this my whole. So yeah, that was definitely that actually. If anyone got video of that like you could see me smiling, because I was just like, yo, they're on it, bro. Like they were ready. Yeah, so
the acoustics in
that was
room
amazing.
Too.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was awesome.
The clapping was way louder than the track. Even, to be honest, like
it was loud.
That was pretty solid. Great crowd, man. For real, it's such a switch in pace. Like when you look out into the crowd when you're performing at, like, let's say a Red Jug. Once we get there, it's usually people like moving around, kind of dancing, swaying, doing things, and then you're at the venue we were at yesterday. They're just standing there like this and just staring directly at you. And I'm like dancing up here. I'm like, I could only do this so long before it's kind of awkward. And I'm like up here dancing in front of people just staring at me. But I know that they're engaged and listening and they like it. It's just because of the venue that we're in. That's how they're gonna behave, which is fair.
Yeah.
You didn't? Yeah. Did you like feel any of that?
I didn't get to like the awkward phase, but I did appreciate, or I guess I liked scanning and like seeing the emotions and like the reaction of like the music as they're like receiving it. Just because, again, like we said, we don't really have those type of really super intimate crowds, and so we don't really get to see the emotions or the reactions of people going. And so like just looking, I do see like because sometimes you might be in front of a crowd and they're not moving because they're processing the music, and you think, oh man, they're not messing with this. Like, but I did see, like, I was scanning and I seen some like nods of approval, like some like half smiles, during all of the songs. Gotcha. Like, so like I did like seeing that part, and I think that's what I like to focus on mostly, because that made me feel comfortable up there. Like the fact that we're getting like some sort of approval. It might be very slight, but we're getting some sort of approval from everyone that was there at the show.
That's great. Sure. I did see it at times too, like, but it was more with the like the slower songs.
The slower songs,
like specifically with Hourglass. I was telling Zaya, the part where my verse comes down and like the instruments drop out, I kind of look into the crowd and I like try to look at everyone's face because of what I'm saying in the verse, and like I kind of put on a somber look and put on a sad look to give them the temperature of the song, but I didn't need to do that because everyone's face was already like depression. I'm like, I felt bad. I'm like, I did not mean to put you in this state already. And we did it with like 3 songs too. Like, and that wasn't intentional. Like it was On My Way, Hourglass, and something else, right? Switching Sides was sad or something. So like, we put them in that space for sure. And that was cool because that's the intention of the song. So it was nice to see that it hit. It just didn't mean to hit like that.
Well, I definitely want to get to that. You know, but I totally agree with you. You know, it's almost, that's the best type of show you could play is when there's like an energized crowd. Because usually when you're playing at the bar, they had a couple drinks, so people are a little bit looser.
They're gone.
So they're dancing, and you could just like get into it and groove and play hard. And like even when you make little mistakes, they don't really care because they're just jamming and hanging. Yeah. Then you look out in the crowd, and you see Chris James. Chris James don't dance in the crowd. He listens. And then you like, oh, snap. I don't want a little phlegm to straight off here. He's going to catch it, you know? Yeah, but it's awesome when you have those kind of people that are listeners, you know?
They're very locked in.
Michaela from Caviar and Grits, she's a listener, you know? She talks about that a lot. She likes to listen, really listen to a show. And it's kind of true. You can't take in a song completely if you're doing anything else but listening to it. Yeah. You know, and that's like when you're doing, you find out like when you're doing like post-production, that's why you put on your monitors, you close your eyes and you just listen. And like if you're dancing, you're not listening to every bit that you can be. Yeah. I like to dance though. I go to a show. You probably see me, you know, busting a crazy move. That song, Sorry, I got to give a quick shout out to my boy King Cassette. I'm missing him so much. I don't know if you guys remember Nick, King Cassette that used to play at the open mic, but the beard, tall guy. Yeah. Well, that Sorry song, I could picture him at Irish Kevin's. He would always just be like
getting into it.
He was always like,
that's usually the one that gets
I was like, I love that song. It's such a good song.
Yeah, good vibes.
But for some reason, with original music, the dark stuff is the best, you know, and especially when you have a crowd of listeners, they love the dark stuff. So, like, Hourglass, what is that? Like, whoa, you guys recently released that song, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What is that song about? Because I was listening to that and I was kind of scared. I thought the world was about to end. At the same time, it was amazing. But like, what is that song about?
Well, he started the song, so I don't know. You put the mic down.
I don't put the mic down again. Here we go. Let's see. That song did not. It wasn't supposed to go like that. Let me start off by saying that I don't know how we got there. I don't know how I got there. It originally started off. So I think people know I'm a fan of Billie Eilish. That song was supposed to be like me venturing down that road of like music and sound, and it wasn't supposed to be that sad. I don't know why it ended up even being that sad, but it did. It went down that road. And we held on to that song for maybe, I want to say, a year and a half-ish, and it kind of morphed into something completely different than it started off as. And unfortunately, people, you know, go through things in life that cause them to lose faith in themselves and lose faith in their presence on earth. So I personally know a couple people who are like have gone through that. And at the time that the song was morphing, they were going through those tough times. So it just kind of bled into the music. And I was partly looking for a place to put those emotions and those events, and partly not. Like, it just kind of like happened. And I remember him hearing it, he was curious as to what was going on too. This isn't usually a path that he goes down with music as well. Being vulnerable isn't like an easy thing for artists. We're sensitive for sure. It's just letting that sensitivity out is difficult. Being vulnerable is very scary. So we did that with the track, and I'm tiptoeing around like what it's about because I don't want to trigger anybody. Yeah. But it's about. What's a good way of putting it? I just don't want to trigger anybody. What's a good?
Could you say it's about time?
It is about time and your mortality, I guess, and like just not feeling like you're enough, and you're just always in your head.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, what do you say about
that? Yeah, I would agree. Like adequacy, everything. It's a big mental health thing. I think is a big like encapsulating topic on that. And just because I say that, just because I heard. So originally, we were talking earlier about like how we come about songs, and this was one of the ones where he kind of started it off. He started it off and sent it to me, and I just kind of got the vibe of, or I think when he sent it to me, it was just a verse, really, or and maybe like the chorus, first in the chorus, and off of that, I made like the bridge and my verse, and I just really based my verse off of someone very close to me that was going through things with like mental health, and that's kind of where my verse came from, and even the bridge, just because. You know, there are times where you don't feel like you're enough, or you feel like you're going through certain things, or you're fighting against the world, and you're ready to go to war for the things that you believe and the things that you are going through. And so that's kind of just where I took it and put myself in their shoes, and that's just what came out of it. That's how, you know, I felt like their emotions were at the time that they're going through what they're going through.
So if somebody was going through these kind of issues in their lives personally, you would say this was probably a good song for them to listen to.
Yeah,
probably resonate with that, right?
Yeah.
Just to feel like you're not. And this is with everyone. Everyone feels like they're going through something by themselves, but no one is really ever going through anything by themselves. There's always guaranteed in this world, it's a big world, someone else is going through a similar situation as you. And so this is definitely something to where we can put that vulnerability out there and be like, we understand, and we were in that position of, even if it's personal or if it was someone very close to us, to where they can see they're also someone else is also experiencing something very similar. You know,
yeah,
it's huge, and I really appreciate you guys incorporating that into your music, because mental health is so important. I mean, especially these days. I mean, you can't go anywhere without hearing it. You know, about how important it is. To sometimes. People are always saying, I'm working on my awakening, right? Mm-hmm. Or I'm rebuilding, I'm rebranding, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's important, and that's something I struggle with a lot too. You know, it's a lot of times just being in my head, and doing a lot of reading recently. Almost just about finished with The Power of Now. Definitely recommend that book. Just about having that present mind, because sometimes you get so lost in what could happen or what has already happened, where it's important to be present. And a lot of times you can see and find presence in nature, right? There's an analogy in the book about how if you sit and look at ducks, that they're so present, they're just ducks just on the stream or on the river, just kind of floating on by. But every so often, another duck will invade another duck's space, not intentionally, just kind of floats over. And what will happen is they just start like smacking each other up a little bit. They give each other a couple good.
That's funny.
Yeah, they give each other a couple good smacks, but then you just go right back to the floating. But before they
just shot the fair ones real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Quick little smack, and then right back to it.
Yeah.
And what you see them do is right after that smack, they go, like they just flood. They just let all that energy out.
Yeah.
They get all that like aggressive energy out, and they just go right back to floating, back into the moment. Like it never happened. Like they'll never deal with that duck ever again.
Shit, that feels so unhinged. I'm not gonna lie. That's so like, that's crazy.
That's deep though. I think a lot of people can take that and use that kind of in life, because a lot you go through some heavy stuff
for sure.
Like you go through some heavy stuff in life.
Stop.
It
feels like it's you against everybody.
Yep. And so just to take that and to be like, all right, this is just the now. This is the present. And then once I'm past this point, I never have to deal with it again, or I can just be peaceful beyond this point. I think that's definitely a good point for people to take from that. But I do want to ask you, Moses, I guess while I have your attention, is what is do you have like a favorite book, or do you have like a number one book, I guess, right now? Because you do say, you're an avid reader, so
I've been reading. Yeah, I've been reading quite a bit lately. One of the best reads I had recently was the book Stop Overthinking. And it had just a lot of things that we do already, like breathing exercises and, choosing whether you want to accept or whether you want to completely avoid. Power Now is great. It's sometimes could be a tough read though. The way, the way he writes could be tricky. And that's why sometimes that other book is a little bit more like smoother getting into, where some of the Eckhart Tolle stuff is like, whoa, your like sentences are so run on. Like I'm like, whoa, you're like getting dizzy reading. But I would definitely recommend that. Stop Overthinking is great. There's another book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's great. Another just like good read, relatable. He did a follow-up book to that, which is like Everything is Fucked. I would prefer. I'd actually, that one's a little bit better because it's a little bit more recent. It's a little, where the other one was like written in 2016. That one's great. It actually gets deep on like some AI stuff. But that definitely a couple books I've read that I would recommend.
Cool. I'll have to take those, put those in the mental bank for later. Yeah,
I have them downstairs. I'll have to show them to you. I could probably loan you the one book because I'm not reading it right now. So, the Stop Overthinking one.
Okay. Yeah.
The reason I brought up that moment, not only is it so important to be present, especially with our mental health, but it's funny. I noticed I saw it happen yesterday morning. Pulled out. It was like 6:00 in the morning. I pulled out of the driveway. As soon as I turned onto the street, there was 3 cats in the middle of the road, and one of them dips away real quick.
Yeah.
But 2 of them just stayed there, just staring at each other, like they were either going to fight or fuck. Or, you know what I mean? And so I park, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So I beep at these things. Did not even flinch or just locked in, and I was just like, "Geez!" I just drove around them, but like. It was just, again, present. When you see nature, there is so much presence in nature. Yeah, we can definitely learn, from just some of that, that primal, simple thinking, of just like be in the moment. Animals don't really care about what happened yesterday.
Yeah, honestly,
they don't.
Yeah. And I guess that's one of the positives of, I guess, living upstate right now, man.
Get to see it.
Because we were talking about this earlier, the nature that we're around. We're not in like a super big city to where we don't have any trees and all we're seeing are skyscrapers, but.
We're great hiking over at BU, it's right there. It's nothing. Don't have to go anywhere far.
Yeah.
All right, so. Let's talk about the next show then. You've got a show coming up here in a couple weeks. So what are the deets on that? What can we expect? Oh.
You're moving the mic?
That was the mic drop.
All right. So our next show is December 29th. It's going to be, like he mentioned this earlier, at Red Jug. Okay. And that's 9 to 12. And we're doing a 3-hour. Which you're accustomed to, so you know how those go. We're doing a 3-hour. It's really just gonna be us and the Basement Crew, our band.
Sweet.
And we definitely do have. And the thing about our band. They're so talented. We're definite, and we want to showcase that as well. So we have Jason, our bassist. He's doing his own, like he's gonna do his own little set, and then we have Ty McHugh, who's on keys. For us and the grown-ups and probably like a bunch of other bands. I know he's
crushing it.
He's
he has
like
3-4
yeah. He has his own bands too.
He's also like a little David Goggins too. I like that. I like that about him.
Dude, man.
Yeah, he doesn't play around. Like you wouldn't
he
know
really
it.
Doesn't.
You wouldn't know him.
Yeah,
he's carrying the logs.
Oh
yeah. Honestly, we call him like the quarterback of our band, man, just because.
He's got the quarterback flow, too.
Honestly, yeah. But Red Jug, Jason, and Ty, they're doing their own sets, and then we're gonna follow up and do our thing there as well. So, yeah, man, December 29th at Red Jug is the next show for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
I don't know what we have planned after that. Hopefully, some things will come along, but we definitely are excited and looking forward to that one. I know our manager Zaya is not really excited because it's been hell like preparing, because this is our first 3 hour to where we're doing it on our own.
Big show.
Really, and because we did have one at Beer Tree, I believe that was 3 hours, but we were able to grab a bunch of other local acts that we were able to put on and put in front of a different audience. But this one is really just all us, and so we're focusing, figuring out the set list, figuring out the nooks and crannies of putting on a good show. It's
just the next test, right?
Yeah, we got to handle sound, lights, everything all on our own. It gets to be a lot, so. Yeah, shout out to Zaya for helping out with that too and taking on the workload that he takes on, because it's overwhelming. It's like really overwhelming. It's hard to keep track of and stay on top of. So like, yeah, thank you for helping.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and if anybody doesn't know, Zaya is the band manager, right? The band manager. So this is what keeps you all in line, right?
Yeah,
you enjoyed Edge and Babi Lou, you got to thank Zaya, right?
For real,
you got to thank Zaya.
I thought that was a Kobe logo on your sock, and I got distracted and forgot my train of thought. I'm not gonna lie. Like just like that, my mind will just veer off, and thank God for Zaya. He'll just be like, "Yo, like, lock in. You gotta be over here. Go fucking plug in that thing over there, or just do something." I'm like, "I got you," and I'm back.
It's that coach mindset, right?
Yeah,
coach
exactly. Like kind of like day in and day out. It's kind of like, hey, so you guys have the track list for da da da, or hey, have we figured out who's gonna be where for what? And like before him, we did that, but it was just a lot. It was a lot for us to do, on our own. So yeah, it's definitely more progressive as this running this way, I would say.
Yeah, I think that creates a great foundation for the future. You know, there's a lot of conversations that are just uncomfortable to have, especially as a band, and when you're the performer and you're dealing with like the venue, whoever runs the venue, it's better to have somebody that's like the middleman.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and he does a great job of doing that and communicating. That's something like that me and him hate doing.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm a social person, but to a certain degree, and then I'm just like I really don't want to talk or like handle all of this right now.
Yeah, it gets messy.
I know he's an introvert, so he don't like talking that much as well. So it's nice that
I agree. I agree.
As you can see, so it's good. It's
Exhibit
nice.
A.
So it's very nice to have someone who will take that workload on and do it
great.
Elegantly and get everything down that needs to be down. You know,
so you better treat him right, because now everybody hears this. They're gonna be like, "Oh, Zaya, I can use some help over here."
Yeah, no, he's taking people. Sorry.
He's gonna have his own little management firm going on here pretty soon. So we've got the show December 29th, the Red Jug Pub coming up. Anything that we're working on in the studio? I know you had a couple recent releases. Catch a Body, that was dope. Love Catch a Body.
Fire. Yeah.
Love that. Love that. Yeah. Love
That's
that,
Dex's
Dan.
favorite song too. That's Dex's favorite song.
I think
It might be a drummer thing, man.
So what's good? Is there EP or an album coming out soon, or are we just kind of just doing our thing and stuff's kind of going out when it goes out? I think the single thing is a great idea.
Yeah, we that was his idea. Like, put out a little flurry, and obviously he was very receptive. And we released like a multitude of different types of songs there. So like, I feel like we caught the ear of like a lot of different people, which was really nice.
Got a huge following on your platforms, which is awesome.
Yeah, we're working.
Yeah,
we're definitely working, all three of us. So
sick.
It's definitely starting to show. But yeah, we're probably gonna put out. I don't think we've settled on a plan per se, but I think we're working on singles right now. If an EP can be formed, I think that would be something that we'll definitely look into. I know we're trying to switch gears a little bit and focus on social media.
Yeah.
And I don't know, try to grow even more than we have been.
I don't know. Yeah, I think so we definitely do have some songs ready to go. We generally, I think in music, for all the regular non-artists, the consumers and stuff, as you guys may not know, the wintertime is definitely like a downtime for all artists. Like venues and stuff is hard to book during the winter and stuff like that. So we really don't like to put out any music unless it's like I've gotten a request or a couple of requests for like Christmas EPs from us. Like that's what a lot of people want to hear. So that's still in the work. I think that's like 3 years in the making, man. Like a lot of people have been asking us for some Christmas music, but we have songs outside. We have some other singles that we're planning on releasing Q1 and Q2 of 2024. And I think the next thing people would be looking for from us would be like an Endless Summer 3, which we don't really know when that would be coming. But we don't know when that would be coming.
The manager sending signals back there. Like,
yeah, he's sending signals. No, but I don't like that's not anything that I'm just saying. That's what I guess people would be looking for. Yeah. Just because we've already put out a 1 and 2, so I think in terms of EPs, that's what they would be expecting. But we're definitely trying to take. We want 3 to be something great. I think 2 was definitely good, but we want 3 to be great. So that's something that we're holding off on until we definitely get in a position to where we would do it right, So I guess until then, we're just doing more singles, and seeing how our fans and everyone that's tuned into us are receptive to those. Yeah.
Awesome.
And we both have our own goals too during this downtime. So like, it'll be a lot of that, like building ourselves as artists, because we're both very capable artists. I believe is obviously there's room for growth for everyone. That's how it goes for artists. So like, we're gonna be working at that and becoming better performers and better basically at everything. Obviously, I just started playing guitar earlier this year, so like I have a lot of work to do. I got to get to my 10,000, as Zaya would say.
Get in the shed.
So yeah, we plan on doing a lot during this downtime, as well as the social media and the singles. So yeah.
Well, definitely looking forward to it. I hope everybody else is looking forward to it. One thing I like to tell anybody when we come over here is, I know like today was a long day, but like reach out if there's any time you want to, like, hey, can I come by and shoot a promo for this event that's coming up or for this single that's coming up? You can use this space, you know what I mean? It's all like, hit me up, Zaya, hit me up and let me know, and that way we can try to like schedule something for it, because I want this to be a place that people can use for those kind of reasons, because not everybody has like a setup place to do it, and just those little touches, the lights and like the background can change your video from however many views to the next amount. So any way that I can help out, I love helping out the local music scene. local artist scene. So, yeah, super important.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man, because we definitely would help. We actually want to do the Tiny Desk idea, remember?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it would be cool if we could collaborate.
Yeah.
Do something like that even. That'd be definitely give us both a lot of content. So
for sure. Yeah, that's what it's all about, is like working together and helping each other out. And I think it's beautiful because especially social media has kind of made it a little bit easier, right? If you want to play at a venue, you could go to that venue's page, see the last band that played there, and just DM them, right? Then you probably get a quicker response from the band than the venue. Yeah. Like, hey, who'd you speak to there? Or, hey, I have this gig out here that we can trade. You know, do you guys want to open for me at the Red Jug, and we can come open for you in wherever? Yep. And just working together and networking like that.
You sound like great ideas that I never thought of. It sound like great ideas.
Yeah, that little bit is sometimes just great, and like through that I've been able to talk to people. Like I've got some people I've connected with, like in Texas, people in Florida, and that way. Damn. If I find myself there's this little gigs that you can kind of pick up to kind of like, you know, pay for gas if you're playing at a festival or something.
Yeah, man. We need to sit down and pick your brain one day, man. Like, for real. All types of stuff. Because, like I said, we're new. We're pretty new to this. So, like, we don't know these little tricks and hacks to get into places and set yourself up. Like,
I've said this before. I've been fortunate enough to play with a lot of people that are older than I am, so it's kind of the cheat code. That's fair. They did all the hard work, and they're nice enough to kind of like
share their knowledge.
Teach me a little bit of the tricks here and there. All right, we're gonna wrap up. Chris, you got any questions? No.
I think before we sign off though, because you've even given us this platform, or like giving everybody in the 607 this platform. I did have like something for you and for Chris for being here and helping us behind the scenes and stuff like that. Just so like some merch. I don't know. I know you're bulking season right now, so I don't know if this will fit you, but we have this this MoFest shirt. This is from a show that we did earlier this year.
Large is perfect.
At BU for MoFest with WHRW.
You just cut off the sleeves.
You could cut off the sleeves. You know your style, man. And Chris, I have one for you too here at Medium as well. So that's just I guess that's our thank you for having us here and giving everybody in the 607 like this opportunity and giving us a platform and stuff, just because even with this and with like Irish Cavs and the open mics and stuff, everything that you guys do, we appreciate you guys.
Well, thank y'all so much, and seriously, thank you guys for coming up here. You know, I appreciate it. This is a labor of love, and I appreciate y'all coming in here. And it's Sunday, you could be doing anything else, but it's good to have you. But yeah, huge thanks to Chris James. Really, with almost every video. But really needed you today, my man.
He was working today.
I got to get a picture of him before it's all said and done. He's like set up back there.
Yeah. Behind the scenes, man.
He looks like he's just like in his element. So, and thank you guys so much for coming. I know we've been going back and forth trying to lock it in, and I'm glad we were able to make it real. Yeah. And the weather cooperated. It's like 50 degrees in December.
Yeah, man.
If you've been in the attic in December before, you know it gets cold. It gets really cold up here.
I probably would have died of hypothermia. I'm not gonna lie. This whole entire podcast, I've been shivering.
Oh my god, you look cold. We're gonna get you downstairs to heat.
I've been shivering this entire like little quakes, and I'm like, I gotta hold it down. Anytime you see me do this, it's because my body started to shake.
Warm yourself up.
Yeah.
Well, we won't let Edge freeze up here. If you could please do us a favor, though, we'll have everything like kind of linked down in the bio, but please go follow them on social media. Instagram, I think it's Edge Babi Lou.
Yep.
On Instagram, they both have their own personal pages as well. Follow them there. That way you can keep an eye on any updating music, releases. They've got a couple music videos out. And of course, you want to check those live shows because they're heat. I mean, they're heat. They're really great.
Thank you.
So please check them out. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Peace.